Hello and welcome back to another weekly news recap in the Philippines. This is what you missed this week. If you want to see daily topics, check out my brand new channel called Asia Now. I've left a link down below. In this video, I'll tell you about 3 Americans being denied at the airport to enter the Philippines, find out why, another American arrested set to be deported for charges in the USA, a tragedy at a very popular tourist attraction, President Marcos Jr.'s response to the latest water cannon use from China against actual Coast Guard ship instead of a civilian vessel. Our first story is a 43-year-old man from Texas by the name of Mikael Aphrodite. According to U.S. authorities, Aphrodite is subject of an outstanding arrest warrant issued by the U.S. District Courts in Texas last December. He was reportedly charged before the said court with unlawful use of criminal instruments in violation of Texas Penal Code. Under this penal code, crime charged against Aphrodite is committed when a person possesses a criminal instrument or mechanical security device with the intent to use the said instrument or device in committing a criminal offense. He would also be put on a blacklist and banned from re-entering the Philippines. The article, the press release, was a little bit vague. I'm not really sure what his crime was, but I think it had something to do probably with picking locks. If you know anything about the penal code or what this actual offense is, leave your comment down below. I'm sure myself and other viewers would love to know. Next up is 3 Americans refused for entering the Philippines. Now these are PDF files, okay? So PDF files, I hope you know what that means. 2 of them were denied at Naya and Manila, and the last one was denied in Cebu Airport. Staying in the airports, there's a lot of things that you should never do at an airport, and making these ridiculous jokes is definitely one of them. Unless you're like a kid and don't know by now, you should know you should never make bomb jokes at the airport. Bomb scare at Naya delays Japan flight. The 42-year-old passenger was about to check in last Friday when he was asked by an airline personnel about the contents of his luggage. According to Karen, the spokesperson of the Civil Aviation Authority of the Philippines, the passenger allegedly told the airline personnel that his luggage did not contain any fragile items and joked that it contained a bomb. He quickly apologized for the joke. A customer service agent alerted the aviation security police and he was arrested. The passenger was taken to the hospital for medical examination before he was detained. If convicted, he would face imprisonment of not more than 5 years or a fine of up to 40,000 pesos. Boo! Can you imagine serving 5 years in prison for making a stupid joke like that? I mean, he might, like, I don't know, maybe a dad joke gone wrong, but please do not make any jokes at the airport. I know sometimes, I'll be honest, personally, I get too comfortable at the airport and I might joke. Like one time, I'll tell you a personal story. I was in Georgia, right? The country of Georgia after Turkey. I went there and the guy's like, how long are you staying for? I said, I don't know, maybe a month, maybe a year. That was a joke because I knew that the visa, I could stay there up to a year. But I don't think it sat well with the person because I wasn't taking his question seriously. Then I got taken into a second. Like, I mean, it wasn't as bad as this, but I should have just been professional, straight to the point. So please don't make any jokes like that or any kind of jokes at the airport with anybody. Just a sad story from Cebu canyoneering. If you don't know, canyoneering is a water activity sport where you jump off cliffs and you go down these like water things. I don't know, I never did it myself. I went to Kawasan Falls, I did the cliff diving, but never canyoneering. But it's a very popular activity in the Philippines, in Cebu City. An Irish woman, 26 years old, unfortunately she passed away. She had, they think it's either cardio, like a heart attack or some other kind of cardio problem. An Irish national who joined a canyoneering adventure southwest Cebu passed away after complaining of chest pains around 11 a.m. on Thursday. Based on initial investigation, she had difficulty breathing after completing 2 jumps from the falls. I want to give you a little bit more detail about this specific story to hopefully prevent you from making, any kind of mistakes out there or preventing yourself from getting injured. This is not a joke. The place is like into the jungles almost, and it's really high. If you have any heart conditions or any physical conditions, I would recommend maybe stay away from it. We don't really know the woman's history when it comes to her health or everything, but apparently this happened at 11 o'clock, but the medics couldn't get there till about 1 p.m. That's 2 hours later. I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that there's no cellular reception in that area. They know this, they have walkie-talkies, but yet they still could not get to her because the nearest ambulance was 12 kilometers away. That may not seem like a lot distance for you guys, but given that location, it takes a long time to get there perhaps because, provinces, traffic, everything else that's involved. So please be careful when you're doing these activities. Yeah, RIP. One last thing I want to mention, I hope the city takes this tragedy and makes it into a positive by having medics actually stationed at these places, because this is a very popular activity, so I'm sure there's a lot of money involved in it. You have to hire a guide, get a van. I don't know if it's the entry fee, I can't remember. Regardless, I think there should be a professional there in case this happens again and people cannot get there in time. Next up is President Marcos Jr. commenting on the latest aggression from China in the West Philippine Sea or South China Sea, depending on what you want to call it. But this time it wasn't a civilian vessel. This was the Philippines Coast Guard, and the Chinese Coast Guards fired water cannons at them, and people were wondering, how is the How is the Philippines and its allies going to respond to the situation? And President Marcos said this.
No, we are... what we are doing is defending our sovereign rights and our sovereignty in the West Philippine Sea. And we have no intention of attacking anyone with water cannons or any other such offensive, I would have to call them weapons dahil nakaka-damage na. So no, that is not something that's in the plan. The last thing we would like was to raise the tensions in the West Philippine Sea. That's the last thing, and that will certainly do that. So hindi natin gagawin. We will not follow the Chinese Coast Guard and the Chinese vessels down that road because it's simply it is not the mission of our Navy, our Coast Guard, to start or to increase tensions. Their mission is precisely the opposite, is to lower tensions.
Okay, I would love to know your thoughts. I'm not a military man or know how to respond, but I can't believe this happened yet again after what the US, Australia, Japan, and the Philippines all came together, had this whole drill going on a couple weeks ago, showing strength, and yet there's nothing to be done yet again. Was there not like a contingency plan or something like that? I don't know. Some of the allied countries have come out and said they condemn this act of aggression, but is that all you're gonna say? Oh, don't do it? Well, what is the next step? What can they do? Of course, I'm all against escalating any situation, but I think there needs to be a clear, they gotta sit down and talk about it. I don't know, but I'd love to hear your thoughts. What should happen here? In some quick news, a transport leader has warned that if the public utility vehicles modernization program is fully implemented, the minimum fare will spike to 40 pesos from the current 15 pesos. Now, what does that mean? The Philippines is transitioning from old jeepney, old school style, to newer ones, more modern ones, more expensive ones, essentially. And this leader is saying, basically, if we're going to go through with this, some of these owners of the vehicles have to pay back those loans for the vehicles, and they may be forced to increase the fare from 15 all the way up to 40. I've heard actually 50 being talked about. However, later on this week, recently, some people said that's very unlikely. Regardless, I assume better cars, better vans, better buses, more expensive, more pricey. A slight blow to universities in the Philippines. No Filipino university made it to the top 100 of Times Higher Education 2024 Asia University ranking, with the latest results showing that the country's top schools either dropped or retained their place. The Ateneo de Manila University has slid from the 84th place to the 400s to 500s bracket according to the latest Asia rankings. So yeah, I don't know what that means or how they go ahead and decide which university, but you can look into that deeper if you want. Just quickly Google it. I'm sure the article will come up. Some more quick news. Cebu labor groups took to the streets to voice their grievances and demands 1,268 pesos a day living wage rather than just the minimum wage in a Labor Day rally on Wednesday, May 1st. Essentially, people wants more money, given that currently the inflation rate is about 4%. The 3.8 is the last I read. So inflation is going up. They want some more money, and yeah, I'm all with them. The good news is that on Wednesday, President ordered a review of the minimum wage rates across the archipelago, taking into account the impact of rising prices of goods and services. So the Philippines president says, go ahead and look into this. Hopefully the people gets the money. I bring these stories to you guys not to try to, what's the word I'm looking for, sensationalize negative stories, but for us foreigners, when we're traveling, to be fully aware of the rules and the regulations and maybe some of the stories in this country, so we can better prepare for our journey, for our trip, and for our living conditions, because you know what they say, knowledge is power. And I want to make your trip to the Philippines as exciting and amazing and comfortable and less stress as possible by bringing some of these news to you guys. And if you're living there, then it's like a weekly recap where you don't have to go ahead and look at the news. I'll try to do that for you guys. If you enjoyed it, take a quick second, hit that subscribe button. Check out Asia Now. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers. Hopefully by the time this video is released, we'll be past that. And I'll see you next time. Bye.